Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We're just about to begin. Um, Hope everybody's doing well out there. Gonna give you the lineup for tomorrow's classes. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we have a 9:30 e-signature with Tara. We have 11 a.m. gentle yoga with Becky, and we have a 6:30 flow hour with Christina. All awesome classes and people, and all of those things will be live on Facebook and then archived on the YouTube channel at Ease Yoga and Cafe, so you can always get to them if you need them. And other things going on. Even tonight, there's the full moon gong bath. So if you need to head out of here, hi Jen, if you need to head out of here early so you can go over, for once there's no waiting list. You can get in, so it's kind of cool. And then the Mala Bead workshop is full. If you're interested in me running another one, let me know. And then Beth and I will try to arrange. We are talking about me doing a yin workshop like I did a little while ago when the studio was open, which it will be again at some point, which will be on releasing anger and grief. So that will probably take place at the end of the month on a Saturday for 2 hours. And I will let you know more as we know more, and you can probably look for that in an upcoming email from the studio. All right, so lots going on, an up and down time as always. I always remind you to show up as you are with anything that's going on for you today. For props tonight, if you want to get yourself a blanket or a couple of towels that you can roll up as cushioning. I'm becoming really fond of a pot and a big piece of Tupperware to add to use as blocks, or you can get a couple of piles of books. As is always, I have my favorite very old from my grandmother's house book of Edgar Allan Poe, and another stack. And then as always from the 6-year-old, so remember, if we have any noise around the house, it's the new normal. But our mascots tonight, we have our lion and we have our Hello Kitty. So awesome. So finding any way that you guys need to be tonight as you settle in. You can sit up against the wall. You can just find a comfortable seat. You could lay down. You could stand up. You could do a handstand. I don't really suggest that settling in, but if that's what you need to do, you can do that. All right. And then just noticing what you feel. Noticing sensation. Noticing what you hear tonight. Becoming aware of what's around you. Maybe you can hear things throughout the house. Maybe it's actually your mind that's buzzing. So just noticing without judgment. Take a deep inhale and release. Begin to notice how the body feels tonight. Maybe there's places that feel sticky and tight. Maybe you're finding that some places have movement and ease as breath flows. An invitation to soften where you need to within the body. Take a deep inhale and just let go. And bringing awareness to the mind. Is it quiet today? Maybe you're finding moments of peace. Does it feel busy? Maybe you're playing some things on a film loop. So on this next round of breath, the invitation is to soften in the mind. Take a deep inhale and release. And then become aware of your heart space, Anahata chakra, glowing with this green love, light, joy, and fear for balance. And to notice how your heart feels tonight. Give it some breath, give it some space, give it some energy. Let that chest fill up with air. And then let it go. And begin to imagine this energy wheel spinning with warmth and energy, with strength. Begin to set an intention here. Intentions show up as real life manifestations. So what do you need to bring in on this full moon, this super moon, one of 3 this year? The biggest we'll have, the closest to us. So what do you need to bring in to join with you, to send to the universe? As you begin to ask no, that the universe will send you little things to help it along its way. With every round of breath, let that intention grow. Collective round of breath for intention. Take a deep inhale. Open the mouth, release. Allowing that intention to grow bigger than your physical being. And then taking 3 soft rounds of breath for anything that you might need. Pausing, taking time. We're going to stay wherever you are for a little while longer. So if you're seated and you need to switch whatever leg is in front, feel free to do that. And just hi, Therese. Hi, Barbara. Hi, everyone on Zoom who's joining. So again, coming into this evening, I'm going to focus on just a little bit of breath work before we get started with our poses. So just find your normal rounds of breath, inhaling and exhaling. Just noticing what the count might be on the inhale Maybe the inhale is for 1, 2, 3, 4. With an exhale of 4, 3, 2, 1. So begin to be aware of what that count is. And I'll just give you that 4 count. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. And that count can be whatever it needs to be for you, shorter or longer. Inhaling again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. On these next rounds, we're going to start introducing breath retention, bakas. And maybe this works for you and maybe it doesn't. Remember, we honor where we are. So just trying it out. And what that is it's a breath retention at the top of the inhale where you will pause before you begin exhaling. And then when you get done exhaling, you'll pause at the bottom of that exhale. So if you try this out and you go, nope, not working, don't like how that makes me feel, don't do it. Please don't. Right? So the most important thing at any given point is to what's working for you. So just putting it on for size, just checking it out. So just take a regular round of breath and let it go. And then beginning. So inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And pause at the top. Exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the bottom. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause at the top. Exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause at the bottom. The last round. Inhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4. And pause. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. And then release, finding some regular rounds of breath, whatever you need here. And then when you're ready, if you're not on your back, we're going to come down onto our backs for our first pose. You might need a prop, just a prop under your knee, but head can be right on the earth. And we'll have our left leg will go long, right foot comes up by that left thigh, and the knee is going to fall out. We're going to do tree pose on our back to be grounded and rooted tonight. So again, leg long, let the knee fall out. Now when you let this knee fall out, if it feels like it's stressing the hip too much, you can grab your books and place them underneath the knee. You could take a propped up blanket and place it underneath the knee for whatever support that you need. Options for the arms. Working on grounding tonight. So if you want, and you want to place your hands down, face down, beside you, palms down, you can. Other options, if you want to open up in more meridians, arms can go overhead, or as we often do in our lung bench, you can clasp opposite arms and allow them to fall over the head behind you. You can also prop up these arms with a book underneath them so that if it feels intense, you have a little bit of support. So coming in, just letting that left knee fall to the earth. And gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. I want to be a tree when I grow up. I want to accept and live the all in order to become well-grounded in deep, rich experiences, to stand tall with confidence, not giving away who I am, and to reach gratefully towards the one who created me. I want to nourish myself into a flexible strength, to be ever welcoming of all who pass my way, to freely share all that I have been given to offer, and to humbly move through the constant changes I face. I want to be a tree when I grow up. I want to gracefully dance with the whatever comes on the wind, to trust that light will always follow the dark, and to be willing to let go when it's time. Therese Manning Gerlach. So this is an opportunity to feel rooted, to begin to release out in that hip. To feel connected with earth, to also feel connected with sky above. So imagining the light of that moon, that energy, pour onto us this evening, allowing its vibrations, that connection that we have that's beyond just our physical being, to connect with something bigger in our universe. Those who will not slip beneath the still surface on the well of grief, turning downward through its black water to the place we cannot breathe, will never know the source from which we drink, the secret water cold and clear, nor find in the darkness glimmering the small round coin who wish for something else. David White. Maybe pulling breath from sole of foot through your entire being, out through those hands, out through crown of head, allowing your root at base of spine to feel connected with the earth. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling once again and letting go. Sliding left hand underneath that knee, helping it up to center, maybe hugging both knees into the chest and release. Hug both knees in and release. Make circles on the sacrum, 3 times in one direction, 3 times in the other. And then when you're ready, we'll come to the other side. So other leg goes long. Right foot comes by that left thigh. Let the knee fall out. Again, each side will feel different. So if you feel that you need support for your hip here, grab those blocks, place them underneath that thigh or the knee, or you can use a blanket to help cushion that, to allow you to slowly open and release. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. I don't really hate cleaning, washing dishes, organizing. It's the anticipation, the mere thought that moves my mind and hands away from the tasks and into more desirable landscapes of imagination. Once a minute, I actually like it, swaying to tunes while sweeping, moving things around to the beat of the dance, softening to the moment when warm soapy water froths, blurring distinction, caressing, cleansing what's in its path, creating a sparkling tower. It's often like that with tasks I dread. In their doing, they contain something joyful, and when completed, there's something of a satisfaction that leads into the silence which follows. Time is a vacuum, suctioning life's grime into its own container. While I do the same for the filth I create, what is left is space, space to fill with creation, and waste to one day clear again to make more space. Sherry Sadaf, Hank. And bringing that breath from sole of extended foot up through the body, out those hands, out crown of head, allowing yourself to be as rooted and grounded with earth here as you are with source above, with this moon, with this energy. Maybe realizing that as this moon energy has come up this evening, your intuition has spiked, things that you've felt have shifted. Maybe becoming more aware of things that normally would feel subtle. And noticing these things without judgment. Anxiety is secretive. He does not trust anyone, not even his friends. Worry, terror, doubt, and panic. He has a way of globbing onto your skin like smog, and you feel unclean. He likes to visit me late at night when I am alone and exhausted. I've never slept with him, but he kissed me on the forehead once, and I had a headache for 2 years. He is sure a nuisance to get out of the house. He has no respect for locks or curtains or doors. I speak from experience. It takes cunning to get rid of him, a combination of anger, humor, and self-respect. A bath helps too. He doesn't like to get wet. As a last resort, if you are not near a bathtub, wet your face with tears. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. When ready, slide the right hand under that right thigh, helping it back into center. Hug both knees into the chest. Hug them in and release. Hug them in and release. Make circles on the sacrum 3 times in one direction and 3 times in the other. When ready, you could let legs go long for a moment and just let arms rest wherever is comfortable by your sides. Hands could be on the abdomen. You could place hands on top of the heart. And then just pause wherever feels organic and just notice. Notice what has come up, what has come to visit. Noticing without judgment. When ready, slowly begin to come back. You can hug the knees into the chest, rolling over onto the right. And then very slowly making your way up to seated. Our next pose is going to be butterfly. So I like to have something underneath my seat. A blanket, a folded blanket would be perfect, or a towel. You can have that blanket folded and sitting on the edge of it so that you're not completely, your tush is not completely all the way on. Soles of feet are going to come together, and the object is to get the hinge forward at the hips so that it's not completely you rounding in the back with the low back staying put. So you might find that in different ways. And every person will feel different in how to get there, but often if you prop up just a little bit, it can help hinge you forward. And then next, with the soles of the feet and the heels can come closer to the groin if you're okay with the amount of sensation that you're getting in there tonight. If that is too much, then move them further away. If you need to and you're having too much intensity in the hips, get those blocks again or the rolled towels, bring them underneath the thighs or the knees, wherever it helps to take some of that pressure off of those hips in the groin area. And so our next pose will be butterfly. And then if you want, and like I said, I keep my trusty pot now and my Tupperware around. So however you want to prop yourself up, if you need to have something underneath your head as you fold forward, find anything that you want to put underneath your head for support. You could even face the wall if you need to lean on the wall, the couch, a chair, the bed, anything at all. So gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. Lord Byron. So we'll go no more roving so late into the night. Though the heart be still as loving and the moon be still as bright. For the sword outwears its sheath, and the soul wears out the breast, and the heart must pause to breathe, and love itself have rest. Though the night was made for loving, and the day returns too soon, yet we'll go no more roving by the light of the moon. So again, finding the shape Maybe finding some circular aspects here. Finding that place, a little more of intuition, a little more of awareness, of connection with what's outside of your physical being. As much as you are joined right now with the sensation from within, are you able to soften that and connect a little tonight with what's around you? Maybe it's the air on the skin. Maybe it's sounds throughout the house. So just beginning to notice and softening where you feel that sensation, and breathing up and down the spine. Courage has roots. She sleeps on a futon on the floor and lives close to the ground. Courage looks you straight in the eye. She is not impressed with power trippers, and she knows first aid. Courage is not afraid to weep, and she is not afraid to pray, even when she is not sure who she is praying to. When Courage walks, it is clear that she has made the journey from loneliness to solitude. The people who told me she is stern were not lying. They just forgot to mention that she is kind. You feel that root, that base of your spine, that energy vibrating, allowing it to ground down. At the same time as you root, can you pull that breath through you and allow that energy to come out, rising up, again connecting a little more beyond just the physical being tonight. Alice Oswald writes, "Good God, what did I dream last night? I dreamt I was the moon. I wake and found myself still asleep. It was like this. My face misted up from inside, and I came and went at will through a little peephole. I had no voice, no mouth, nothing to express my trouble, except my shadows leaning downhill, not quite parallel. Something needs to be said to describe my moonlight. Almost frost, but softer, almost ash, but wholer, made almost of water, which is, strictly speaking, no feature, but a kind of counterlight. Call it insight. Like in woods, when they jostle their hooded shapes, their heads congealed together, having murdered each other, there are moon beings, sound beings, such as deer and half-deer, passing through there, whose eyes can pierce through things. I was like that. Visible, invisible, visible, invisible. There's no material as variable as moonlight. I was climbing, clinging to the underneath of my bones, thinking, good God, who had I been last night? Noticing here if you can fold a little deeper. If you can use that breath to help find that fold. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling once again, and let go. Slowly helping yourself come up to rise. Maybe taking some seated cat-cow. Maybe bringing the feet a little wider than the hips. You can let the knees knock side to side. You can even take a reverse table here if that would help. So finding whatever organic movement you might need to release from this place, from this pose. And then when you're done, finding some stillness, pausing. And just noticing what has come up. And noticing without judgment. When you're ready, slowly begin to come back. Just saying hi to Kay and Becky and Beth for joining us. And our next pose is going to be Sleeping Swan, but I'm also going to give you the option to do Upright Swan. So if you have cranky knees, which I do, you can bring a blanket that will cushion the back leg. So you're going to come into table, hands and knees on the earth. Bring the right knee behind the right wrist. You're going to lengthen that back leg behind you. Now, if you want to prop up that back knee, just place a blanket underneath that shin. So option here to come forward for the Sleeping Swan. Other option, if you're feeling like you have some more fire you're looking to get into, is to do an Upright Swan. If this pose in this shape is no good for you, I have cranky knees, like I said, you can come into a figure 4 on your back. So you can just roll down onto the back, cross the right ankle over the left knee. You can lift up the left foot and hold on to the left thigh. You can also take this figure 4 shape against the wall. So left foot would be on the wall, right knee, right ankle over the left knee. You can also come into deer pose. Feet hip width apart. Let both knees fall in the same direction. You walk the hands out in front of the front shin and then begin to stay long in the spine as you walk the hands towards the back foot to get into the side body to find that stretch. So finding wherever you need to be. You can always send a message if you're feeling like nothing is working. I'll try to look at it or re-explain. So gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. With all that's going on right now, sometimes looking back further into history, knowing some of the things that the world has overcome and that this will also be possible here. And not often have we so universally dealt with something at the same time. So finding some connectedness through that, and that everybody's working towards this common goal. Maya Angelou writes, "Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Perfection is careful but not cautious. She burned her hands many times before she learned to pay attention. She says that hers is the most difficult job in the world. The post was vacant for nearly 3 years. Most people do not even make it past the first interview, and retirement is mandatory after 9 years. About halfway through the 5th year, Perfection started feeling like she was falling apart and dissolving into space. This recent episode humbled her. She had never realized how strongly we resist being broken open. She discovered that her greatest strengths grew out of her strongest weaknesses. Perfection needs to keep moving. Otherwise, she becomes swollen with her obsessions. She has learned to dance into the very center of her fears. She is not impressed by false modesty and the fronts we develop to hide our beauty. She is grieved by how fiercely we hate ourselves and yet refuse to change. She honors our flaws. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling once again and letting go. When ready, curl the back toes, slightly lifting the back knee, releasing this front leg back if you're in the sleeping swan or the upright swan. If you're in the figure 4, you can release and hug the knees into the chest and release, hug the knees into the chest. And if you're in the deer pose, you can bring knees back to center and just let them gently fall side to side. Whatever will work for you. We'll take about 3 rounds of breath here. Before we move to the other side, we'll take a longer final pause after the other side. So take a deep inhale. Exhale for 1. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale for 3. If you're coming into the sleeping position, for that back knee. And remembering each side can feel different, so honoring what you need for the other side. So you can start from table, bring that left knee forward behind the right, the left wrist, send that right leg straight back. And if you're feeling knee, get the blanket, place it underneath that shin to help lift the knee off the earth. And when you're ready, coming forward for the sleeping swan, you can prop your head up in any way that feels good. Other option is for the upright swan. Again, you can come into deer pose. Feet come about hip width apart. Knees will fall to the other side, the left side probably this time. Hands walk out in front of the front shin and around as you keep length in the spine towards the back foot till you feel it in that left hip. Or figure four, coming down on your back, left ankle over the right knee. You can stay there if that's enough sensation, or lifting the right foot off the earth, grabbing behind the thigh, or placing the right foot onto the wall. So finding any shape that's working for you. And gather the breath deeply. And release. Inhale once again. And just let go. The 18th trump is attributed to the letter Kaf, which represents Pisces in the zodiac, and it is called the moon. Pisces is the last of the signs, represents the last stage of winter, might be called the gateway of resurrection. The letter Kaf means the back of the head and is connected with the potencies of the cerebellum. Also with the moon in this card above the surface of the water is a sinister and foreboding landscape. We see a path or a stream, serum tinged, that flows. The moon partaking as she does of the highest and of the lowest, and filling all the space between, is the most universal of the planets. In her higher aspect, she occupies the place of the link between the human and divine. And we have our moon card. So maybe thinking about your own divinity. We're stuck very deeply into a cycle of the negatives now. So what's something really spectacular that you can think about you? It might be as simple as you showed up for yoga. Maybe it's you got outside for some fresh air. Maybe that's the divinity right now. Keeping it small and simple. Maybe showing up with some compassion for yourself as you manage what is going on in this time, a time none of us have ever experienced. I'm beginning to understand that we can navigate it differently every hour of the day. And maybe there's divinity in that. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. Mary Oliver. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling once again and letting go. When ready, slowly beginning to lift up. If you're in the sleeping swan, curl the back toes, lift the back knee gently, and release the front leg back. Same thing if you're in the upright swan. If you're in the deer pose, you can bring the knees back to center, allowing them to fall side to side. And if you're on your back, you can just hug the knees into the chest and release. Hug the knees into the chest and release. And I'll show everyone our moon card once again if you need to see. I'll bring it up to our Zoom. And then pausing wherever you are and just finding this moment to notice what has come up. Maybe it's a sound, maybe it's an idea, maybe it's a memory. It could be fear, it could be hope, it could be clarity. But whatever it is, allow it to be without judgment. When you're ready, slowly coming back, coming into the next pose, bringing with you what you might be using for blocks. So I'm going to bring my books. We're going to lay face down on the mat. We're coming into praying mantis. So I'm going to bring my books for this. So the books can be angled. So lots of different options. We can have our hips over the knees as we bring the elbows down onto the books, letting the front of the arms hang off, sinking the heart down towards the earth. Palms can come together and thumbs can come to the back of the neck. You can also have that same position with big toes touching, having a child's pose style in your legs. Sorry, I don't mean my hair to be in my face. With, again, the arms outstretched with the elbows on top of what you're considering your blocks, letting your heart press towards the earth. So the sensation is being found underneath the armpits and across the collarbones. So other options are to remove the blocks completely, doing puppy pose. So hands come out in front of you as you allow the chest and the forehead to come down to the earth. You can prop the forehead up with blocks. So lots of options. So when ready, finding this place, gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling once again and let go. How it adds up. There was the day we swam in a river, a lake, and an ocean. And the day I quit the job my father got me. And the day I stood outside a door and listened to my girlfriend making love to someone obviously not me inside. And I felt strange because I didn't care. There was the morning I was born, and the year I was a loser, and the night I was the winner of the prize for which the audience applauded. Then there was someone else I met, whose face and voice I can't forget, and the memory of her is like a jail I'm trapped inside. Or maybe she is something I just use to hold my real life at a distance. Happiness, Joe says, is a wild red flower plucked from a river of lava and held aloft on a tightrope, strung between two scrawny trees above a canyon and a manic depressive windstorm. Don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. And when you do, you will keep looking for it everywhere for years, while right behind you, the footprints you are leaving will look like notes of a crazy song. Tony Hoagland. As you open your heart here to the earth, grounding that heart space down, allowing back body to strengthen and become strong. Again, can you feel the vibration of sensation outside of your physical edges tonight? Since the vibration is so much higher on an evening such as this, are you able to maybe find that connection? Maybe it's the first time you've ever felt it, but find that sensation beyond that physical edge of everything that you notice inside. Is there a school where perseverance teaches classes? I want to meet him face to face and see what he looks like. I've heard so much about him. It's not that I want his feedback. I'm sure he would tell me to keep working. I already know that. It's not just me either. Offhand, I can name at least 3 friends who are as curious as I am. One is a scholar, one is a writer, and the third is a young parent. I would write Perseverance a letter inviting him to come here and teach at the neighborhood school, but no one around here knows where he lives or how to find him. I read somewhere that they were trying to hire him to co-host a PBS series on the creative process, but he would have none of it. Says he is shy in front of cameras. Truth is, he turns down all offers which distract him from his work. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling once again and just let go. When you're ready, coming back, you could come into a child's pose, you could come to seated, you could do tabletop and do some cow and cat, helping to release out. So finding any organic movement that feels good here. And I guarantee you, as much as you think the time froze, sometimes I'm just being quiet and giving you some space. I'm still here. So once you've found your organic release, pausing and just noticing once again what has come up, what has come to visit. And slowly begin to come back. We're going to come into our bridge pose. So I love to offer you to bring your books or whatever you're using as your blocks. You're going to roll down onto your back, feet on the earth, knees bent. And then press those feet into the earth, lift the hips, take whatever you're using as your blocks and place them underneath your sacrum. So coming into a supported bridge, palms face up to receive. If you feel like you need to ground tonight, turn the hands down, palms connect with the earth. Next option is to extend the legs long out on the earth. It helps to have the books or blocks on the highest position that you can tolerate to find that extension of the legs. So finding your way into this shape, into this pose. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and just let go. Heart continues to open here. Finding a softer way to open. The very center of our being is a great spaciousness that is untouched by sin and illusion, a point of pure truth, which is inaccessible to the fantasies of our mind or the brutalities of our will. It's like a pure diamond, blazing with the invisible light of heaven. It's in everybody, and if we could only see it and integrate it, we would radiate a peace that would make all the darkness and all the cruelty vanish forever. They will see your broken pieces, and with helpful hands will start gathering. Even though they seem well-meaning, they will try to reassemble you into their style. And you will find that the reconfiguration isn't a perfect fit. Your soul will feel like it's staying in a hotel and not its home. And this is why you must never let another person fix you into a version of their desires. You will lose yourself that way. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling once again and letting go. When ready, bring the feet to the earth. Lift the hips off of the blocks, removing them. Hug the knees into the chest and release. Hug the knees into the chest and release. Make circles on the sacrum. 3 times in one direction, 3 times in the other. And when you're ready, allow the knees to fall over to the right, arms open in a T or in cactus, looking over the left shoulder, so opposite whatever direction your knees are. Close the eyes or have a soft gaze. Gather the breath deeply. And release. Inhale once again and just let go. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhaling again and just let go. With awareness, bring the knees back up to center. Hug them in and release them. Hug them in and release them. Make the circles on the sacrum 3 times in one direction, 3 times in the other. And then allow the knees, when you're ready, to fall to the other side. Arms open out in a T or cactus. Look over to the right. Knees fall to the left. If you did it the opposite way, that's fine. You're just looking in the opposite direction from the knees. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. Following sensation within, allow that breath to just release anything that's left. Gather the breath deeply and release. Inhale once again and let go. Bring the knees back up to center. Hug them in and release them. Hug them in and release them. Invitation here for any final movement that you might need before we set up for Shavasana. So again, after I talk you down into Shavasana, you'll have some moments of quiet. Don't panic. I'm still here. You don't have to keep looking. I'll let you know when it's time to come back. So after you find any final movement that you might need to release, legs can go out long on the mat, arms beside you. If you need to take that blanket or pillow that you might have and place it underneath the knees, that can feel fantastic for the low back and to release out. So finding a way to really settle in here and feel comfortable. I want you to make fists with your hands. Tighten them up nice and tight. Tighten every muscle in your body. Tight, tight, tight. Scrunch your face up. Make everything tight. Big inhale. Sip some more air in. Sip more, a little bit more. And let it all release out. Allow your body to be heavy into the earth here. The backs of heels, the calves, the thighs. Allow everything to be melting into the earth, just heavy and held. The back torso, the backs of your shoulders. Allow even the fingers to relax, the arms to be heavy, the back of your head to be held. Soften in the brows, the eyes. Wiggle the bottom jaw back and forth, releasing any final tension. The tongue be heavy, mouth relaxed. Having a thought, just let it pass. Another one comes in, just let it go. Enjoy these final moments, and I will call you back. Slowly begin to come back, bringing breath back into your beautiful body, joining the spirit with the physical. Noticing the sounds around you, beginning to orient to the sensation of air on your skin. If where you are is divine, the invitation is just to remain there as long as you wish. One of the benefits of the setup of this practice now. If ready, begin to wiggle fingers and toes, nod head side to side. Maybe bringing arms overhead for a morning stretch to bring the body back. If ready, hug the knees into the chest, rolling over onto the right side, pausing here. A place of beginnings, knowing all things from this moment forward are possible. When ready, finding your way up to seated, closed eyes, soft gaze, reclosing them once there. And just noticing what has shifted, what has changed. Hopefully we filled what was empty and emptied what was full. Gathering hands at heart center, palms pressed together. Come back to intention set at the beginning. Breathing through this heart space, take a deep inhale. Open the mouth, release. Allowing it to fly off to the universe, knowing it will be heard. It was an honor and privilege to practice with you this evening. We bow our head to our hearts. Together we say, Namaste. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm so honored to have the opportunity to be here with you virtually this evening. If you have any questions, if there's things that you'd like to see on the schedule, could you please let us know? We're here. We're still remaining our lovely Ease community, which I'm so grateful for, to see some faces and to see some names. So thank you for being a part. And if you're watching this later, thank you for taking the time for self-care so that you can do what you need to do. Remember to greet yourself with some compassion. Your strength is in there. We're making our way through. And as always, if you need anything, just reach out and find us. We are around. All right. Bye, everybody. I will see you real soon.